Hello, everyone. This is Quentin,
And Anna.
and this is the Q&A podcast.
Today we are back at PNDC, and we're going to be sitting down with two prominent leaders of the organization, Ligaya Kurelko, Director of Workforce Development, and Jake Rickert, the rising Executive Director.
So join us as we talk all things Mercer County, local economic development initiatives, and what it means to be homegrown.
So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, welcome back to the Q&A podcast. Today we are here with Jake Rickert and Ligaya Kurelko of PNDC. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're so excited to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, we appreciate the invite. Yeah, we're excited.
So you guys are both stepping into your new roles here at PNDC, Director of Workforce Development and the rising Executive Director. How has this transition been for you two?
Good.
You want me to start? So I say, Jake and I have worked together for a long time. We went to college together. I think him transitioning into his role and me being able to transition to his previous role was pretty seamless. We worked together on many projects, and he's pretty much opened the path for me to lead the way, and he's right there on every step of the way for me. So.
Yeah, the biggest reason that I kind of moved into this associate executive director role, over the last 5 years, Penn-Northwest, our membership's grown exponentially. We've really ramped up the amount of dollars, state and federal dollars we're getting brought into the county. And our revenue, through our loan program, through some of our fee-for-service programs, our revenue's really doubled over the last 5 years. So we've grown not in terms of just dollars amount, but our impact, our visibility in the community, the kind of programs and initiatives we want to run and launch. And it's a lot to handle, especially on a small staff, which we have. So I really kind of moved into this role to help, lead portions of Penn-Northwest while Rod takes special projects, some of our loan programs really kind of under his wing, while I can kind of handle more of the day-to-day operations. So a lot of my role is really, how are we going to hit our goals? What are our goals for the year? How are we going to get there? Managing some of our projects, building out some of these marketing strategies, and keeping our department heads kind of making sure that they're headed in the right direction. We have a lot of autonomy here for each of our department heads to really do what they see fit. But, at the end of the day, we have to make sure it aligns with our program of work, which is our annual plan for what we want to accomplish. So that's a lot of, really what I've transitioned into. But it's been pretty seamless. Rod's still very active, still around. I'm just more of the day-to-day face here.
I know you've done a great job, because I know it's big shoes to fill considering it is Rod Will, but
yeah.
You guys have both done amazing. And you both started as interns here, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's super neat too, because we're both interning now at the eCenter, so it's cool to see, how your commitment over time.
Yeah, I'll say, Penn-Northwest, when Rod moved in here, it was a big stance he took on building out a well-rounded internship program. We really tried hard to keep our interns from, doing check-the-block work, taking up some of the stuff we don't want to do. And of course, there's always a level of that with internships. But we really, really try to push our interns to build projects. This last batch, they're working on building an entrepreneurship through acquisition program, which focuses on helping young adults, really under the age of like 45. How do we buy and sell businesses in our community and keep them homegrown with their roots still in this community?
And in addition to what you guys both do in your roles, you also spearhead the Homegrown Initiative. Could you maybe tell our listeners who aren't super familiar with that program what that all entails?
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about where the Homegrown Initiative originated, and I'll let Ligaya talk about where it's really led. But 4 or 5 years ago, Penn-Northwest kind of went out, and we always called our listening tour, where we went out and we met with as many members as we could as quick as possible. Just kind of got out there, tried to figure out the landscape. And the one thing we noticed, a reoccurring theme, regardless of industry, regardless of size, the number one issue was people. They said, if we could write a blank check, what would you do with it? And they said, probably not much, because we don't have enough people to, even if we could do an expansion, we need workers to fill a new plant or to fill an extra 40,000 square feet of facility. So we realized, out of everything, repopulation was the name of the game. Supporting our local businesses through getting young adults, through finding new workers to get here. So we had the opportunity to apply for some grant dollars to launch some sort of program that supported really stabilizing our population loss. And that's where the Homegrown Initiative kind of spurred out of, was let's build a program using our connections to the business, our education community, that helps grab these kids that have, really grown up in Mercer County, went to K through 12 in West Middlesex or Mercer, Greenville, then elected to go to a Grove City College, a Teal College, a BC3, a Penn State Shenango. That's 18, 20 years of their life they've lived in Mercer County, getting an education in Mercer County. But we never really did a great job trying to snatch those kids up and keep them here and find something that aligned with them. So that was kind of our role with the Homegrown Initiative, was, hey, let's just get out there, meet these kids where they're at, and try to help them just consider the possibility of staying here. That's really where I kind of started it, and then Ligaya has really kind of grown it significantly from there.
Yeah, so when Jake transitioned to his new position and coming into the Homegrown Initiative, we really wanted to ramp up our local businesses with our education systems, starting from grade school all the way to college level, to really get that face-to-face interaction between those students and those CEOs, CFOs, and human resources departments, and implementing different programs to kind of, like I said in the past, bridge that gap between our workforce needs and the individuals that we have here today. I think even when it comes to repopulation, building out and starting the initiative of Make My Move has really skyrocketed. That is something specific to repopulation and getting our younger individuals, young professionals that are remote workers here in the county.
No, that's amazing. And you guys both have such unique stories too, because you both are homegrown, born and raised here in this area, still committed to PNDC. How has that process been for you?
Being a homegrown kind of resonates with me, being from Mercer County. Just knowing the people, the places, and the vision that I can see Mercer County heading towards. It's really uplifting, and I'm really excited to be a part of that impact. So
yeah, I grew up here. I went to Greenville High School, played all the sports. Familiar with the rural community. I think a lot of kids are in a similar boat to me. I wasn't a big school guy. School never did much for me. I didn't love it. So right after I graduated high school, I joined the Army. That was what I always wanted to do. So I really, really left Mercer County for about 5 years. Lived in Colorado, and I really, really enjoyed my time here and time there. But what brought me back, and why we're so open and upfront and excited about the Homegrown Initiative is, what really brought me back was the tight-knit community, your access to education, your low cost of living. When I decided to transition out of active duty, this was the first community that popped up as a place I need to get back to. I knew I could get an education at an affordable rate. I went to Penn State Shenango, which I'm a huge advocate for. That Penn State Shenango really did a ton of positive things for me in terms of getting plugged into a college, getting an education I needed, and keeping it at a very affordable rate. But my transition into Penn-Northwest, that just happened because I knew so many people here and I could get plugged in, and I think that's something that even now has been very impactful in making Penn-Northwest and a lot of companies grow and expand. Is you can start showing up to your chambers, you can start showing up to organizations like Penn-Northwest, getting involved in United Way, really get connected and continue to grow personally and professionally.
So Jake, you have your military background. Like you said, you were born and raised here. Is there would you say that are there any skills that maybe you had to work on, or having to balance military and work and things like that?
Yeah, yeah. The military was great for me. I mean, I'll be upfront. I wasn't a big school guy, a little undisciplined, a little bit more of your stereotypical, 16, 17, 18-year-old boy. The military was great. I mean, it really drove home the discipline. It really drove home the being detail oriented. What it's really done for me is, I gained a lot of leadership experience through it. I've got my 2 little deployments. I led infantry teams, squads, platoons. There's a lot of moving parts, and a lot of it's fast paced. And honestly, even in training environments, I mean, a lot of it, you do the wrong thing. I mean, people can get killed pretty easily. We do live fires on an annual basis. We go out and run our machine guns and shoot our rockets, and it's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of danger that goes alongside of it. So, I would say my leadership built the most, and I got to see, I think the other thing that really made an impact on me was, my leadership had to be flexible to the soldiers, not to what I grew up knowing. So, when I ran a sniper section for a long time, and all the guys in my sniper squad, they all came from different walks of life. They all grew up in different parts of the country. Some grew up in very heavily poverty-stricken areas. Some grew up, one guy grew up with his dad owned a yacht rental company. So you're seeing a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different ethnicities, a lot of different belief systems. So how do you get all those people wrapped around the same vision? And that comes from, so I lean a little bit more into like a democratic leadership style, or authoritative, where it's a little bit more, do we think this is the right vision? Okay, let's go do this together. So those are some of the things that I've really, have really cleaned up and really impacted, how I look at problems. And it helps. I think it's helped a lot working with a board. We get 23 business leaders around the room. I don't have to be the industry expert on everything. I got 23 experts there, and they're all experts in their own field. So it's how do we get, it's constantly how do we keep everyone together and on the same vision. And a lot of them, working in the military for, I'm at my 10th year mark. That's really impacted how I lead and look at things.
No, that's awesome. Thank you for your service.
Oh, thanks.
And on that note, Ligaya, you just stepped into a new role of leadership. What do you find to be maybe one of the challenges facing workforce development right here in Mercer County?
So one of the challenges that I feel like we're facing in Mercer County when it comes to workforce is finding those skilled-based jobs for those employers that are at high demand. You think of, manufacturing, our welders, our electricians, our maintenance people, those are the individuals that are heading into retirement. And like Jake said, there was this thing with Mercer County to push us out because there was nothing here for us. Well, we're on the flip side, now we're seeing a high demand in those fields, whereas in the past they haven't.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, that's awesome.
Yeah, and to wrap things up, are there any social medias or anything that you guys would want to plug and shout out?
Yeah, so you can always get to know us more from our website at Penn-Northwest.com. We also have our social medias at Penn-Northwest and the Homegrown Initiative. Then Jake and I are both on LinkedIn. You can find me at Ligaya Kurelko on LinkedIn. And Jacob Rickert.
Yeah.
Jacob
Full
Rickert.
name, full government.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys both for being here today. We really appreciate the time, sitting down, talking with us about this area. So
Yeah, I appreciate the invite. This is fun.
So
Thank
until
you.
next time, this is the
Q&A podcast.
2, 3, ho!